Our next is someone who is well known in the community for her work with immigrants and supporting people who come into this land in need of some help, some guidance, some assistance. I'm speaking with Helena DaSilva Hughes. She's the executive director of the Immigrants Assistance Center, which is located in New Bedford on Hope Street in New Bedford, and
58 Crable Street.
They have done remarkable work for many years, that agency. She hasn't been involved in all 47 years, but she's been involved in a number of those years, more than 30 years. The Immigrants Assistance Center has been at the forefront of providing a broad range of services to assist the immigrant community integrate and often attain citizenship, and that work has been going on for 47 years.
That's correct.
She's here to tell us a little bit about the agency and also to talk about an upcoming fundraiser, which is happening. Helena, it's great to see you here.
Likewise.
Thank you for coming in. Let's talk a little bit about the center. You began work there 34 years ago, and you worked your way to the executive director position. But always, as long as I've known you, your focus has been on helping folks feel more comfortable here.
Absolutely. I think it's fine. When I started working at the Immigrants Assistance Center, one of the things I was not aware of the center until I started working there, and I realized the impact that the Immigrants Assistance Center was having in the immigrant community. So I could relate to the families that were coming in, because my family, when they immigrated, I'm one of 7, so I understand the challenges of my dad working double shift, working at Chamberlain, and trying to just, for us to basically meet our basic needs. And so I could relate to the elders, because my grandmother was illiterate, my grandparents were illiterate in their own language, so I could understand. So it was like I felt like I had lived the mission. I was living the mission of the organization. And it just became contagious, and I just fell in love with it, and I never left. And then in 1996, I became executive director, and many of the programs that are in existence have been programs that I have created based on the needs.
I called the agency this week to speak with Helena, and she was talking with a client. She's the executive director, but she still finds time to talk with folks who come in and need help, which is a wonderful thing. This wasn't meant to be a discussion about immigration, but clearly immigration is a hot-button issue in this country, and there is much fear and insecurity in the community, in New Bedford and other communities by immigrants. What are you hearing? What are you seeing?
Well, first of all, it is, absolutely. There is definitely a lot of anxiety going on, a lot of fear that is happening, and we saw that right from the beginning, especially right after President Trump got elected. We started, working. We've always worked very closely with the New Bedford Public Schools, but what was happening was right after President Trump got elected, there was this fear of what was going to happen to them once President Trump took over as the president. And so the kids, where we started seeing at elementary school, children were going to school and telling their teachers that their parents were being deported. And so it was I'd say that one of my first tasks was making sure to ease a lot of the anxiety that was going on and calm the community down. So we started doing a lot of work not only at the high school level and at the middle school level, but a lot of work with immigrant parents at the elementary level after school, speaking to them to hear about their concerns and finding out exactly what we could do to help them. And at that time, when President Trump got elected, during his elections, I know there was something that he said that the border was something he talked about, and basically deportation was something that he still talks about. So a lot of the families that we were seeing, where a lot of them were in fear, and we're still getting calls and still see them daily. And so what is happening? But it's important to mention that it was not just the undocumented population that is in fear. We are seeing people who have legal permanent residence, who are green card holders, who've been here for many, many years and thought because they were here with the green card that they were protected. And so what we're seeing is our numbers of people wanting to become U.S. citizens have quadrupled in the past years after the election. So, and that is something that we are doing daily, is that making sure that people apply for citizenships, of course, those who meet the criteria. And a lot of times we get calls of people just wanting to know updates of what's going on with immigration. It's basically taking immigration and putting it at a level where the general population understands, and at the same time, the people that are being affected by it also understanding what they need to do. And so we're doing a lot of immigrant family planning in case it's immigration. It's immigrant family preparedness. It's basically preparing these immigrant families in case a loved one gets picked up by immigration, what they need to do. And so we've been doing a lot of them, not only at the school levels, but we're doing it also at the center. And it's important for people to have a plan. As we saw during the Michael Bianco raid, there was no plan, and we saw what happened. So the thing is to make sure that these families who are undocumented and have children who are born in the United States, to make sure that there's a plan in process in case one of their spouses gets picked up by immigration. So it's basically making sure that if their children are born in the United States, that they have a U.S. passports, that the family has someone that they trust that is a U.S. citizen or a legal permanent resident in case the children need to stay behind. And so this family preparedness is something that has been taking a lot of our time and a lot of my time. And so I think it's important that we never know if they are going to get picked up. At least they'll have a plan so they can reunite with their children once they've been deported.
So we're not going to get too deep into the political woods on this issue, but one of the things you mentioned is it has prompted people who may be undocumented to sign up for citizenship classes.
No. Oh, the people who are not undocumented population means they have no green cards.
Right.
They don't have no status. Yeah. And what they are doing, we're seeing is, yes, they're signing up for English classes. In order for them to become citizens, they have to be legal permanent residents.
Okay, so I'm sorry. So it's green card holders that have been flocking.
Yes, it's green card holders, either people who have legal status in the United States. They are flocking as far as wanting to become citizens. So our citizenship classes have been something that we've been pretty full, and that's people who have legal status, who want to become U.S. citizens and meet the eligibility criteria. So for the undocumented population, those are the people that we're providing family preparedness, are people who have no status. And unfortunately, there's no path for them to get a green card unless there's an immigration reform. And as here we are 20 years later, and we're still talking about it.
We're still talking about that, and nothing is happening. Yeah. And I have to, again, I don't want to get too political here, but I think the time is ripe for that. And frankly, the Republicans would benefit by taking this issue and showing leadership on this issue.
Absolutely.
The Republicans would benefit by saying, we are going to push through immigration reform.
Absolutely.
And it astounds me why nobody seems to want to do this.
Exactly. Not just the Republicans. The Democrats don't want to do it. It's an issue that is being constantly used as a political football by both parties. So both parties are to blame.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question about it. And you're absolutely right. And here we are with that. Now, green card holders, people who are here legally, are now flocking to citizenship classes. And you have them twice a year, is that correct?
We have twice a year. First of all, we have citizenship classes in the morning, in the evenings, and on Saturdays. Not only citizenship classes, we also have classes to prepare people to speak English. So we have ESOL classes, and then we also have citizenship classes. So, for example, if somebody meets the criteria, which is 5 years with the green card in the United States, they have to take their test in English, of course. And so what we're doing is we're teaching them the language, and once they learn the English, we automatically integrate the citizenship curriculum into the classroom.
And the next graduation, August 24th.
That's
at
correct.
10
That's
a.m.
the
celebration.
next. That's right. That's the next citizenship ceremony that we're holding at the Immigrants Assistance Center.
Okay,
Basically, it becomes the classroom becomes a courtroom.
That's right. And a judge comes in, and it's
Absolutely,
a
and
legal
immigration is there, and people get sworn in as U.S. citizens, and then we register them to vote.
Oh, that's right. I misspoke earlier that the Immigrants Assistance Center is on Hope Street. It is not. The Immigrants Assistance Center is located where?
58 Crapo Street, New Bedford. We're in the south end of New Bedford. We're in the same building as the Portuguese Library, which is Casa de Soldado. So we're located between. Used to be the Thompson Street School many, many years ago. So it's in the corner of Crapo and Thompson.
The Hope Street address I gave is where your fundraiser is going to be.
Exactly. That's absolutely.
The fundraiser is August 9th.
Yes.
Thursday, August 9th, from 6 to 9 in the gardens in the Madeiran Heritage Museum on Hope Street in New Bedford. Beautiful location.
Yes.
Tickets are $50. This fundraiser this year, perhaps more important than other years, but it's important for your organization.
Yeah, it's basically over 50% of our funding has been doing fundraising, and that's why we have a fundraiser in the spring and we have a fundraiser in the summer, and that is, I would say, our numbers of clients. We would service about 7,000 clients per year. We're up to 9,750. So our numbers of clientele have increased, and in order for us to keep up with the demand, we need definitely to raise funding so we could have staff available or increase the hours.
And you know, it's not just someone who can speak Portuguese anymore answering your phone. You've got to have a bilingual, 5 languages you serve.
That's right.
And you're going to need people who are savvy in the law.
That's right.
I would think.
Absolutely.
And all of that. So, I mean, you need some pretty sharp people and staff members.
Absolutely. Well, what's amazing is we have a great team. We have people that are with 5 languages spoken fluently. It's Portuguese, Spanish, Cape Verdean Creole, and French. And all of our staff are bilingual, bicultural, which is extremely important. It's a lot easier to understand the language than to understand the culture. So it's very important that our staff are members of the community, represent the immigrant community that we serve, and at the same time, they've been there for a very long time. I have staff that have been there for 20 years, 18 years, 17 years, 15 years. So it's staff that understands and believes in the mission of the organization.
So how can people get tickets to this event?
Well, first of all, they can go into our website, immigrantsassistancecenter.org, and you can go right on to where buy a ticket, and they can buy a ticket right online or right through our website, or they can call the Immigrants Assistance Center, which is 508-996-8113, and they can order tickets or pick up tickets, and we can have them at the door.
So we need your services. There's a greater demand for your services, clearly.
Yes, absolutely. Yes.
Usually you had about 7,000. Now you're getting well over 9,000.
Not more, yeah.
So that's quite an increase.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we really, and what we've done is we've increased staff hours because some of them are part-time. And in order for us to keep meeting the need, we're just going to need to raise money because we can't depend on the government, that's for sure.
Phone always ringing every day?
Every day. Our office is open every day from Monday through Friday from 8:30 till 4:30. We do not close for lunch. And then we have classes in the morning, we have classes in the evenings, and also classes on Saturdays. And yes, we do speak all the different languages, which is important.
The Immigrants Assistance Center has had a profound impact on thousands of immigrant families in Greater New Bedford. Again, they serve primarily Portuguese, Cape Verdean, Spanish speakers, but their client base, as this release says, incredibly diverse.
Absolutely.
I've been to a citizenship graduation. I've seen it. People from countries all over the world are there receiving their papers and taking the oath. It's an amazingly proud ceremony.
Absolutely. And I always say that our citizenship classes and our ESOL classes is extremely diverse.
And you've got a platinum sponsor, United Healthcare Senior Care Operations.
Yes, Senior Care Options is absolutely. They've been, United Healthcare has been a champion, and it seems like they've been, for several years, they've been the platinum sponsor. We are still waiting. We also have Bank 5, who is coming in also as a silver sponsor, and we are going to be having more sponsors. I know South Coast Health is a sponsor, so there's a lot more sponsors that are coming in.
Helena, thanks for coming in.
Thank you. Thank
Great
you for
to see
having
you.
me here. It's a pleasure. Thank you.
All right. That's it for Townsquare Sunday this week. Thanks for listening. Also, thanks to our engineer today, Brian Rose, and digital editor Casey Sylvia for getting the program on the air and on the website. I'm Jim Phillips. Please join us next week for Townsquare Sunday. Until then, have a great week and a wonderful Sunday.